I have a very special guest, young and beautiful. And for those looking for a date, we will be hearing a lot from her. Yeah, and my thank you for defending Stain for joining us. GNA, thank you for joining us. Thank you all of you for taking your precious time on a Saturday weekend to join us today on live. Yes, we took a break last week, and this week we are back. And this week I have a very young, beautiful lady sit next to me, and her name is none other than dating Lynn Yan.
Hello, hi everyone.
Can you hear us? And if you can, kindly show us some emoji so that we know that the connection is well, or thumbs up. Yeah, show a smiley face or give any emoji that you can so that we know you are getting our signal and the connection is good. We have a very cool and nice place at Backbound. This is really the right location that we have in. We enjoy this place talking to everybody in life. Yeah, so my special guest tonight, yes, thank you Supreme for joining us. Thank you all of you, Sim851, thank you for joining us. We are so glad that you guys took some valuable time today to chat with us, two young ladies. And my beautiful ladies, special guest tonight, is none other than Lynn. Lynn Yan is sharing with us on dating. And all of you are staying at home, you probably having a lot of questions later part to ask about dating, right? If not, you will be, or unless you're with your partners, then you can always ask any questions related to dating. Yeah. So my special guest once again, all right, is none other than Lynn.
Hi everyone.
Alright, so I'd like to see some emoji sign if you can to ensure that the connection is there. Thank you Baby Set for coming in. Thank you TikTok warning. Wow, warning. Okay, anyway, we just want to have some fun and relaxing questions. So none other than my special guest today, young and beautiful, right? Yes. Alright, so we will ask her some questions relating to dating, and all of you, if you have any questions that's related to dating, please feel free, alright, to give us your questions there so that we'll be more than delighted to also reply you. So Lynn, can I ask you some questions about dating?
Sure.
So why did you go into this industry? What do you think about this industry that has actually helped you one way or another, perhaps?
Right.
Yeah.
Sure. So hi everyone, this is Lynn here. So basically, I guess how I eventually got into this dating topic, so-called, was that I have that so-called vision, to set up a sharing platform, that will allow me to, sort of like allow me to get more people to learn how to build their interpersonal skill. So there are many people out there who need a lot of tips, advices, on how to build interpersonal skills, particularly when it comes to talking to the opposite gender. So that to me is important, and I think it's meaningful. So that's why I set up this platform to do that. So of course right now my platform as a start, is particularly focusing more on doing advices for gentlemen. And of course there is never a one size fits all. So as much as possible, we will do as many topics as we can, as many tips as we can, and eventually, all these tips that we are sharing will be able to benefit someone in a particular stage. So yeah, that's the whole vision that we have, and yeah, more importantly, feel free to share your feedback. And that platform is not just me sharing my ideas, anything that you came across, for that particular topic, you can share your ideas, share your suggestion, and this is a platform for everybody to share all the good sharings, because sharing is caring, right?
Yes, that's right. And what do you think? Is there any stages when you date? Is there any stage? There are any stages when a person start to date or whichever. Yeah.
So I guess in general, when it comes to dating, there are like 5 stages. So the first stage is when there's romance. So that's where you'll get attracted to someone, you're attracted to her, she's attracted to you. So that is the romance stage, which is the best because that's where the honeymoon starts.
Yeah.
Right. So from the honeymoon, eventually, with all the romance going on, you will move on to the next stage, which is the reality stage. What I meant by reality is that is where you will start to realize, there's no two humans are equal. So you will start to realize that there's always differences.
Yes.
So the reality checking will be such that, you know, there will be disagreements, there will be arguments, for example. So the reality check is for you to fix things, you know, to get things fixed, and eventually for you to see eye to eye on the same level. So that's the second stage.
Yeah.
The third stage, I guess, is really moving on to a commitment. So once you have sorted out your differences, the next stage is commitment. You know, and me thinking that we are the right party for each other, so we commit to this relationship. So eventually, from commitment, you will move on to intimacy. And what do I mean by intimacy is really, you are already so close with this person, you will be able to be very open with the person when it comes to your vulnerability. What are you afraid of? What are you worried about? You know, be very open-minded with your mind and your feelings. So that is where I come from when it comes to intimacy. And the last stage, which is the fifth stage, is where, you know, you started engaging with each other, and then you will have a blissful life, a blissful relationship. So that's in general the 5 stages, yeah, that I think is, you know, what the whole relationship cycle is.
Is it true that the dating will always be blissful, honey sweet, and you know, all these experiences in dating?
Right. As much as possible, everybody go into a date, go into a relationship, you know, with the faith that it will always turn out well. You know, but you know, things are never perfect. But in the event that there's any, you know, bumps along the way, we sort things out. We try to look at, you know, what the issue is, and then fix from there. So every day we are learning. So I mean, in a relationship, it's just like a plant, right? If you don't plant it every day, you don't put in effort to love the person every day, naturally it will go sour.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, there has to be efforts from both sides.
Yeah. All right. So Lynn, what do you think is puppy love to some of them? You know, because there are some youngsters, right, who are also schooling or still studying. Is there such thing as puppy love to your knowledge in dating?
Yeah, there definitely is. I mean, personally, I've had my fair share of puppy love as well. So that is where you really start to get interaction with the opposite gender, start to have that level of, you know, attraction, you know, for one another. And yeah, that puppy love is always sweet because it's so innocent. You go in there not knowing what to expect. And yes, for sure there is.
Okay. And how is that duration about this puppy love that will last? Is it during for school days or yeah?
In fact, I have friends who married her first boyfriend, so called, and that is her puppy love. So yeah, they knew each other since secondary 2. So from then, after like 12 years, they got married. You know, they are each other's one and only. Now they have a happy family.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. So there is still puppy love around, yes, and puppy love does develop into a real relationship, and they will also, you know, ended up into marriage as well, right?
Yes. Thanks for following the host.
Yes. Thank you for joining us once again. For those of you who have just joined in, yeah, our topic tonight is about dating. My special guest tonight, none other than Lynn. Lynn will be sharing with us more about understanding about dating. And Lynn, what do you think? How do you date and where do you go nowadays, especially with the lockdown?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess, you know, when circuit breaker happened, you know, you generally can't go anywhere. But right now, I would say that most of the establishments are open. Personally, I love cafe hopping. Bubble tea, cafe hopping, anything that allow us to sit down, chill, relax, and have a very quality and good conversation. So yeah, to me that is a good dating spot because it's less hectic, it's not noisy, you know, and yeah, you have good drinks, coffee is good, bubble tea is good. Yeah, so I think that is a good dating venue, I would say.
I see. Okay, what do you think of, you know, sometimes dating is very much on personality. You know, one will be the chatty and one will be the very quiet dating. How do you make the other party, you know, be as chatty as you if you're one person that talks a lot, but you realize in the dating, you can't be the one always talking or asking questions. Yeah. How do you cope with that?
Right. So, in general, I will say that there are 5 types of so-called love language, we call it. Right, so that 5 types of love language is where, because no 2 person is equal, right, as I said just now. So that is where everybody has a different way of responding to the other half. So for example, so that the 5 types, let me just illustrate. So the 5 types of the love language, the first one is words of affirmation. So that is where this person, be it you or anyone else, is a person who likes to be given the assurance through words, through letters, telling you that, hey, Cass, you're doing good. I like you, I love you, I miss you.
Oh.
Right? So that is the words of affirmation that, this love language gives. So are you this type 1? So that's something that you ask yourself. Or is the other party the type 1? So that's something that you need to know. So the second type is the art of service. Art of service are people who tend to express their love through doing things for the person. For example, I will cook for this person because I love him so much. I will do the laundry. I will help him with this, help him with the homework. I will coach him, for example. So these are the art of services that a person expresses through action. Right. So the third one is interesting. That is receiving gifts. So there are people who like receiving gifts, but not any form of expensive gifts, but gift in the form of a letter, gift in the form of encouragement, gift in the form of a thought. It's really the thought that counts, that they are looking for. So the fourth one is quality time. So these are the people who like people to set aside everything and have 100% attention on you. So that is where, during the dating period, that is where they will prefer themselves or the other party to put the phone aside, stop playing games, not doing anything. In my eyes, there's only you, I will only talk to you. So that's the quality time. And the fifth one is the physical touch. So these are the people who like to be given a proper hug, hold their hands, and tell them that everything is good. So they like the physical touch, the sense of assurance. So when it comes to such, knowing these 5 languages, so there are people who go into a relationship thinking, I've done everything I could. I buy her all the gifts that she wants. Why is it that it doesn't turn out right? The reason is you are not speaking her language. So you need to know what kind of love language you are, the 5 that I mentioned just now, what kind of love language he or she is, and if you know that the person's love language is maybe like physical touch, then you need to give her that assurance through physical touch. Holding her hand and tell her everything is good, and that is where you really talk to the person in the way that they like.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. We will come back to that again,
Sure.
because there is plentiful of questions
Really?
coming in. Yeah. So
Okay.
my best friend has feelings for me, but I've not acknowledged it because the dynamic to change. It's the dynamic to change, right? Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
So of course the question is, how do you feel towards the person?
Yeah.
If you feel that, both of you guys are single and that is your best friend, someone that you know very well,
Yeah.
And if you feel that, you don't mind giving it a try, that is where you guys can give each other the chance to know each other better and see whether or not you can take this to the next level. There is never a right or wrong whether or not you should date your best friend.
Yeah, hi Bento, thank you for your question. There's this Betty Fresh asked, how about for introverts? Any advice? Yeah.
So right, yes. So basically, I set up this channel, right, is really to help people build their interpersonal skill. And generally, how you communicate with people is through the interpersonal skill, through the research you do about a person, trying to know them, being observant, to be able to strike a conversation with them, and of course going into a relationship. So if you are an introvert, that is where you need to take a bit of, for example, like a reference, on how to, start a conversation with a person. So these are the kind of tips that we will share. For example, before you start talking to the person, you can just do a bit of a quick research. Nowadays social media is so common. You could just go to her social media to see, maybe she has a pet, maybe she likes to watch movie. If yes, what are the movies that she watch? And then you can start talking to her through all these relatable topics. It's easier for you because it's also easy for her when you talk about things that she can understand. So I think that is a good start for anybody to strike a conversation with someone.
Don't cry over your crush or best friend.
I think, guys, never think that crying is shameful.
Yeah.
It's always good. It's always natural that we feel sad about things. We will brood over it. We will take time to stand up. It's natural. So let it out, cry it out, and eventually, most important thing, you must know how to stand up and move on.
Yeah.
So move to the next stage, move to the next page, a new chapter, that is awaiting you. Give yourself that chance.
Just curious, do dating coaches believe in astrology sign or in compatibility? Okay, King Dad asked this question. What do you
Right.
think?
Hello, King Jet. Hi.
Yeah.
So I think there is some truth to it, but you can take that as a reference. I'm pretty sure, like people talk about the zodiac compatibility, the any kind of animal sign compatibility, that I'm pretty sure there is some truth to it, but don't take that as your encyclopedia. End of the day, when you fall in love with a person, it doesn't even matter what race she is, how old she is, how tall she is, or what kind of signs she is. That love at first sight just strike. So yeah, I think that can be taken as a reference, but end of the day, believe in your instinct, your feelings.
Yes. Okay, hi Fernand, and hi those who have just joined us tonight. Thank you for joining us. Just feel free to continue to ask us more questions that you have there. Before that, I will just continue to interview dating coach who has more questions, right? How to confirm the person you are dating is truly your soulmate? Yeah, I think that's what we all want to know, right? When we are dating somebody, how do we know this person is my soulmate? Yeah.
Right.
What do you
This
think?
is a really good question, because most of the time when you are with a person, before you really go into that commitment stage, or even the end stage, end stage for example, you want to know whether or not he or she is the right person.
Yes.
So there's no right or wrong answer, but generally these are the few checklists, okay, for you to really just go through, to run through your mind. So the first one is, of course, physical affection. Physical affection means, are you attracted to the person? When you are with the person, or when you meet the person, does your heart skip a bit? Do you have butterflies in your stomach in a good way when you are with her? Do you feel good, when you are with her? So that is that physical attraction that someone must have, and not someone sitting side by side, but you don't feel anything about it. So that feeling is something that only you will know. The second one I will say that is respectful. Does the person respect you as a person? Does the person encourage you to be yourself? So you must be very comfortable in your own skin. So if the other person is able to encourage you to be yourself, this is probably the right person. So this is the second checklist. So the third one is whether or not the person has the level of maturity. So when I mean maturity is, do they think, do they reflect on themselves, do they evolve in the present? So that's the level of maturity, and maturity comes at different stage. It may not be now. So even if the person doesn't take the maturity stage, it can still come later. So other than that is, of course, honesty. That's the, trust is so important in a relationship. So he or she must have the level of trust for you. If the person is always doubting you, so this needs more improvement, right? So I guess, other than that is humor. So I guess, laughter is the best medicine for everybody. If the person often make you smile, make you laugh, make you happy, and this will be the right person for you to stick to. So these are the, 6, 7 qualities that you look out for when you're with a person, to evaluate whether or not he or she will be your soulmate.
Yeah, how do we know I think we just answered that question, but now we come back to one of these questions. Christy says, my boyfriend leave me because of new friends. What should I do? So these new friends is what? Are they of the same gender? Or if it's a new friends, and if you can join the new friends, fine, if it's not due to dating. So maybe you want to elaborate when you say that your boyfriend, right? Yeah, leave me because of new friends. If it's new friends due to common friends, I think it's still quite okay. Yeah. So
even perhaps, because you're talking about friendship, right? You're talking about your BFF. So that is where maybe he or she just got, distracted, by new and fun things, and that is natural, because everyone loves new things, everyone loves exciting things, or even new friends. So don't worry about that, because if you mention that she or he is your BFF, eventually you already built that connection with a person. So end of the day, after the person is just expanding his friend circle, it doesn't stop you from still being his or her BFF.
Yeah. Okay, thank you for your questions. Keep coming in. Yeah, we will continue to answer your questions as much as you key in as well. What is one message you would give to your followers? Like what kind of advice, especially now, you know, some of them, whether new in TikTok or even like they are, I hope they are not dating in TikTok. Is there a possibility? Yeah, it could be, right? Yeah. What would your advice be?
I think I will say that you, as in everyone here, you don't need to know it all. None of us needs to know it all. I don't know it all as well. But you must know how to feel it all. End of the day, you have feelings. You must know how to feel it for the other person. You know, you don't need to know everything. As long as you have an open heart, you know, you put in your genuine heart to it. Know it all. That's all you need. Yeah.
Good. Is there a reason why someone who falls in love make you fall in love with them?
Someone who falls in love first makes you fall in love with them. Someone who falls in love, is there a reason why? So is that a love at first sight?
It's a chemistry?
Yeah. If it's a love at first sight and the person sees you, he or she had that love at first sight, you know, that attraction towards you. So there is that level of law of attraction, right? So if someone is attracted by you, he will emit that level of natural, you know, instinct, right? And if you are the right person who shares the same, who sees eye to eye, naturally that law of attraction will also make you fall in love if you are the right person.
Okay, Christy, thanks for clarifying. My best friend, right? Like you said just now, yeah, my best friend had a different interest. I think it's okay because we are constantly in a growing environment and we grow as we age, right? So he or she could have different groups of friends. I think we can highly encourage, all right? And maybe at the same time, you can also be curious if it's really your best friend and not your so-called partner that you're seeing or you're dating. Actually, it's good to even join them. It's good to see their behavior as well. Don't you think so, Lynn? That it is a relationship is not just two people in the same world, right? In actual fact, if you know that as the relationship develop to a deeper stage, you actually sort of like get married, you will also need to know his friend and you will need to know the other party's friend, right? So do you encourage that it's not just two persons world, but they could constantly go out as a group of friends as well so that they know each other's behavior? Do you encourage that?
Definitely. So it's always good to mingle, to know your friends' friends, because that is where you know whom they are hanging out with, what are the common interests they have. And you know, when you mentioned that your BFF left you, I mean, assuming this is your BFF, right? Your BFF has new friends, you know, end of the day, you already build a chemistry. You know, that chemistry doesn't just break off, you know, suddenly. But in the event, you know, that your BFF doesn't come back, don't despair, because end of the day, we have our friends, we have our BFF. There will always be new friends coming into the circle that you have. There will always be new people coming into your life, and these are all the way of life. You know, it's a vicious cycle. You know, from one BFF, you know, you will eventually have 10. So yeah, don't feel so bad about it.
Yeah. Okay, I hope we answer all your questions there. Yeah, very true. Okay, how to, I think some will answer. Okay. Is girl and boy BFF is like boyfriend and girlfriend? Women instincts are always true. What do you think? We should not always trust our instinct because they may be unreliable. What do you think, Lynn?
I think it's true.
Yeah.
To some extent. I mean, as in, we cannot rely on our instinct 100%, right? End of the day, we need to do a lot of evaluation over time. It's not that my first instinct tells me that he or she is the one, it will stay on forever. So over time, you have to continue evaluating. You know, you could even maybe like talk to your friends about it, just so that, you know, they also give their fair share of evaluation. Of course, whatever they say doesn't mean 100%, but, you know, have an open heart, open ear, open mind to really understand, you know, what is going on, you know, over the months to eventually evaluate. But that first instinct is just telling you, you know, what you want to do, but that doesn't mean that it is going to be the same forever.
Okay, thank you for those of you who have just joined us. Wei Woon, Hanny Candy World, Extra. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, today our special guest, and we are on a very, very hot topic. I thank you all for typing all the questions. Yeah, all about dating. And my special guest is Lynn Yan here, who share with all of us about dating. Lynn, what do you think of in the date? There's nothing as lovey and dovey throughout, right? What happens when a couple, yeah, fights and then quarrel and don't see eye to eye? How do you advise them to patch?
Right. So, I mean, these are all the spices that you need to add into a dish to make it exciting. if every day, every year you're eating the same plain porridge, which I love porridge, okay, if every day you're eating the same dish, you know, it also gets boring. But every human being is imperfect, you know. So that is where we have to know that there will always be differences. And when there is differences, we need to be mature enough to see how to get that fixed. Talk about it, be open about it, and eventually from there to come to a common ground that each other can accept. So this is something that we must always embrace because we will always have all our ups and downs.
Okay, there's these interesting questions you might want to answer. Moo2017, thank you for your question. With online dating on the rise, why is it still not accepted by general public?
So I guess, you know, the reason why this was, or rather this has been, you know, not accepted, or rather being deemed as, you know, not the natural way of doing it, is because when you are on an online platform, you do not know the person in person. If you do not know them personally, the chance is, you know, there may be some level of fraudster. So that is the reason why. But believe me, more importantly is you can meet the person on the street, you know, at a cafe or even online. You can meet the person anywhere. It doesn't mean which platform is good or bad. More importantly, you must be discerning enough to be able to make your judgment whether or not you eventually know the person in person. You know, you are in a relationship with them, know their friends, know their family, you know, before you overcommit into it.
Yeah, I guess sometimes it's not because they don't accept, it's more that a concern and care for you. And if you're meeting somebody online, that it could be a stranger, and there's also statistically it has shown a high risk and also crime online. So I think it's, if your loved one are showing you that, it's more like a concern if it's the family members. Yeah. Okay, how to not be awkward with people of the other gender?
Right. How to not to be awkward? So first of all, who are you meeting? Are you meeting someone that you like? So generally, how do you want to prepare yourself to not to be awkward is you really go in prepared. For example, the person that you are meeting, can you understand what are her level of interest? What does she do? Does she have a certain hobby? You know, not asking her before that, but rather maybe either through the social media or through your interactions with her, what do you realize? So have some of these topics get ready before you meet her, and eventually when you meet her, you need to be observant. For example, you know, if her ice drink is, you know, finishing, you know, her plain water is finishing, then, you know, get someone to top it up. So being observant is important, and then you will feel more confident. So you go in there with some information that you know about her, that's important. And then when you meet up with her, be very observant about what she likes, what she doesn't like, and then, you know, is she waiting, is she cold, you know, this kind of thing.
Okay, also answered. Moo2017 asked, but now couple are not afraid to quickly divorce.
Yeah, I think it's true that the trend is coming up because more and more people are easily distracted. So they get into the romance stage, they get into the intimacy stage where, you know, they share a lot of their feelings, but eventually they forgot how to consistently love the other person and put in effort for it. So the moment one or both parties, you know, forgot to put effort to it, naturally, you know, it will go to a still stage. So I guess it's really, you know, understanding that a relationship is just like how we have to continuously show our love for our parents. So they are our family members. So yeah, we have to remember that.
Yeah, and we also want to tell you that don't jump into a intimacy as well if you are just dating. It's good to always try to understand each other deeper until you're very sure of the relationship before you make into a deeper commitment. Yeah, so I think that is also one area where the young couples can also understand each other deeper, you know, before you make a decision as well, or any other commitment. So then we want to go back to our questions again. All right, earlier on you touched on the 5 languages.
Yes.
Maybe you want to re-emphasize
Sure.
what are the 5 languages for those of you who just joined us. Thank you for your special time tonight. And my special guest tonight is Lynn. Lynn, who is a dating coach, who will share with everybody on dating relationship itself. So I want her to re-emphasize on the 5 languages because I think it's very important for those who are dating, or all of you who have who are actually starting dating or who wants to be in date. Yeah, it's good and powerful to really understand what is these 5 languages.
Yep.
Yeah.
So just now we touched on the 5 love languages, and everyone has different love languages. So these are the 5 love languages that I will go through. The first one is words of affirmation. So people who are a words of affirmation kind of love language, who has this love language, tend to like people to give them the assurance through words. So be it via a text every day, for example, in the morning to say good morning. So if you give that level of words of affirmation, the person who loves this, you know, will appreciate that. So are you a person who is the words of affirmation, or is the other person such? If you know that the other person is such, then it will mean a lot to her if you were to send her a message every morning saying good morning, have a good lunch, good evening, good night, or even I love you, I miss you. So these are the words of affirmation. That is the first language. The second one is the art of services. So art of services are people that appreciate it, you know, who will show their appreciation by doing things for you. For example, they will cook for you, you know, they will do the laundry for you, they will do your homework for you, or they will do certain things for you to show their affection towards you. So some people are this, and they love to be shown in a way. So the third one is quality of time. So these are the people who like, you know, to be the center of attention. So that's where if I'm a person who loves quality of time, or if I want to show quality of time, I will put away my phone, not playing my games, and over dinner there's only you and me, I will pay 100% attention to you. That's quality of time. So the fourth one is actually physical touch. So these are the people who love that level of physical touch, either through holding hands, give them a tight hug, you know, to tell them that, you know, everything is good, I love you, I miss you. They just want that level of touch, you know, to get an assurance. And last but not least is receiving gifts. So these are the people who like to receive gifts, either, you know, in the form of card, a small token of appreciation, a chocolate, a sweet, a coffee, you know, to feel love. So why I talk about these 5 love languages, because everyone has different love language. So if you know that your girlfriend or your boyfriend, you know, are the ones who love the words of affirmation, then that's where, you know, you need to share this kind of action to her, because there are people who go into a relationship and wondering why things doesn't work. He has been buying her gifts. How come she still feels that she's not appreciated? Because she is not someone who prefers receiving gifts. Maybe all she wants is just the words of affirmation, which has not been given. So knowing these 5 love languages is important, because that is how you should shower your love towards the person, you know, based on her love language or his love language.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, so I hope you remember all the 5 languages that she have mentioned, and we are going to end the session very soon. Just last 2 questions, yeah. So if you have any more, we will, you know, try to answer you. Now we are having just last 2 questions. So one of them will be Lynn, when they are already at their first date. But after the first day, they find that maybe this is not my ideal partner, and I don't think I want to continue. How do you advise them to terminate this very politely and not, yeah?
Right. So I think this is important. It's a very good question, because, you know, sometimes we may come to that state, and if that ever happens, because you have tried your best and it doesn't work out, you know, it's always important that we come from the angle that we wouldn't want to waste the other person's time, because, you know, he or she is investing a lot of their feelings and time, you know, with you. So it is important for you to be honest with him or her, telling her that, you know, you are not feeling it, for example, One was the reason, if there is any. For example, maybe you just don't like the person being a smoker, right? So you have to be honest, with the person to tell them that. And eventually being honest with them is the best respect you give the other person. Just be very tactical, very tactful with your words so that you don't hurt them, by using, too nasty words.
Okay, and one last question will be, what are the 5 things to consider that this partner, dating partner that you have been dating is really the partner you want to date for a long time to come? Yeah.
So we briefly mentioned that just now. So the first one is the physical attraction. So you must feel that your heart skips a bit when you're with a person, because that tells you that how you are feeling towards them. That's one, but it doesn't mean everything, right? So the second one is whether or not that person has a good level of trust for you, because trust is very important in a relationship. Thirdly is empathy. Does the person has empathy? And that level of empathy means that the person is able to accept your struggles when there is, accept your highs and lows, being there for you, supporting you. So the level of empathy is also something that's very key. So the other one is respect. So you must be able to feel that the person allow you to be yourself. It encourage you to be yourself. And this is the kind of respect that the person is giving you. So of course the other one is humor. So yeah, laughter is the best medicine.
Yes.
So that person must make you happy, make you smile, on a daily basis.
Okay, thank you, Lynn. Thank you so much, every one of you, for your precious time. We really had our enjoyable time with you for an hour. And we really thank you for your time. We hope to see you next week again. I have another very interesting person that is going to join us next week with this live streaming of answer and questions at the same time. So we wish you all have a happy weekend and enjoy, have a good night, rest and sleep. Thank you.